Good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming. Another week on Artists on Lockdown. I hope everybody's doing well. It's been a great week, great comments. I want to thank everybody for sending all the wonderful comments and questions, and we'll address some of them tonight as well. The first thing I want to go into, just for Mike, because he made sure that he emailed me and said, Sal, don't forget the card trick that you went over last week. So we're going to do a little continuation. For the ones who did not see me last week, I did a card trick. When someone asked me, Sal, what's one of your favorite card tricks to do? If someone gave me a deck and said, do something, this is one of them. And I don't have a spectator. Last week we had a spectator on the show, and that's the only reason I did it, because he said, Sal, show me something. But basically, someone gives you a shuffle deck of cards. And then when you take it, you're going to take out a prediction card. Let's see. I'm going to take out, maybe we'll use this one. Yeah, I think that's the one. So I just took out a prediction right here. Now I'm going to take the deck onto the table. I'm going to deal the cards. And then you have the person say stop whenever they want. They can honestly say stop anywhere. Stop there, no problem. Then you have them point to a packet. No force. You tell them any packet, the one you pick is the one we use. Let's suppose they use this one. They say, let's use this packet. You turn that card over, and it's a 5. Well, let's count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll put this card right here. Well, you stopped me on a 5, and you picked a 5. And then the prediction card I took out was a 5. And the only other thing to do is show you the other 5. And that is called Triple Coincidence by Frank Garcia. And real quick, I'm going to explain it. Now, you can go back and review this during the week and on YouTube and download it and study it. Well, I'm going to go through it one time real quick. When someone gives you a shuffle deck, I take the deck and I look at the bottom card. Kings at 13, queens at 12, jacks at 11. Just for argument's sake, we're going to pick a low one. It doesn't make a difference what card it is. It's a 3. So I count 3 onto the table, reversing the order. 1, 2, 3. Now, I look at these cards. I'm not counting. I'm looking for another 3. There it is. So this one matches that one. I put it on top. Now I go through the cards, and I take the third 3 and cut that to the top of the deck. And then I take out the fourth 3 and lay it onto the table and say, this is my prediction. Now I put this packet on top of the table packet. Now, to reiterate what's going on, I have 1 3 on top, and then I have the other 2 3s, third from bottom. 1, 2, 3. So now I take the cards in my hand and I deal them onto the table, and I don't say anything until I bypass these cards. Then I tell the person, stop me whenever you want. It doesn't matter. They say stop. Which one? Here, here, here. It doesn't matter. Now you turn both packets face down. You tell them there's no force here, but there is a force, and I'm going to explain what that means. I have to make sure we turn over this card. This is the 3. This card must get turned over. So if they point to this packet, I'll say, okay, we're going to use this one. So let's see how many cards we have to count. 3. If they pointed to this packet, I would just turn this over and say, oh, 3. 1, 2, 3. We put this card here. Here's the other one right here. If I put this packet on top of that packet, I pick it up, and I use this 3, which they don't know it's a 3, as a pointer. I say, look, here's a 3. You stop me on one card, that's a 3. My prediction is a 3. And then you turn over the fourth 3. And that's how that was done. Now, another ploy you could do with this, just using the 3s, is you would do this. You pick them up, you cut them. I am not going to say suits. I'm just going to say color. So here's a red one. So we put that red one here. Here's the other red one. We put this one here. Is it hearts and diamonds or diamonds and hearts? No matter what they say, they're wrong. It's clubs and spades, because here go the diamonds and hearts. And real quick, how that's done, just the cards are alternating. When I show you this three, when I turn it over, these fingers pull back. It's called a glide. So I put down the second from bottom, and I turn over these two cards. So it looks like there's one. There's really two here. And I put that one down. It looks like the heart, but it's really the black. So that's how those two tricks were done. I hope everybody liked them. And now let's pick up where we left off last week. We talked about the shoes because I received a text saying, Sal, well, how about a legitimate shoe? Could something be done with a legitimate shoe? And the answer is yes. This is a regular casino shoe. Now, we talked about the two shoe last week, where the top card can be backed up. And if anyone didn't get a chance to see that episode, it's on YouTube. You go to Artists on Lockdown, which I recommend looking at the other talents on that website as well. There's some great talent on that website. Because the casinos are afraid that the cards can be backed up, they put a ledge in here. They call it a 2-bar or a deuce bar. Every casino shoe has them. There's a ledge. You can't see it, but it's back here where the cards can't be backed up. Well, what happens here is this. Let's suppose I want to peek the top card in a regular casino shoe. What I would do is this. So, okay, we'll deal. I know it's a 3. And all I do, this is covered. Now, I would not be doing this. You don't hold a shoe this way. The shoe is dealt this way. So the person sitting far to my left would see the top card. But all I do is I pull the top card up until it hits that ledge. And then when I pull back a little bit more, right here, I'm looking right at it. Like you see, it's the other 3 of hearts, as a matter of fact. If we pull up the video, let's go to the video of the casino shoe. And I'll show you how this looks from surveillance. And then I'll show surveillance how to look for it. Right there, I just flashed the top card. The big move covers the little move. That person is betting purple chips. Why is that person betting $500 chips? Because they saw an ace on the top of the shoe. Right there, I flashed my whole card. Right here, the top card is being given up. So they know the dealer's going to bust right now for a guaranteed win. The house just lost $1,000 right there. Now, if you want to see how it looks from the other person's view, in the lower right-hand corner, that's the peak. What surveillance would be looking for is to see if the roller moves backwards. That's why I use my left hand to cover the top of the shoe. Thank you. That's a close-up of the peak right there. Now, when the last player's second card is being dealt, as I'm coming over, right there, I flashed a 5. So the person sitting to the dealer's left knows what the whole card is going to be. Now when the dealer comes back to the shoe, here's the peak for the hit cards. and they know right there they're going to put the dealer in a break position. So I hope Kevin enjoyed that explanation on what can be done with the regular shoe. Another text I got was asking me about roulette. Now with the coronavirus happening, casinos starting to reopen, these things I believe will be more common. And there's reasons for that, but we're not going to go into that right now. But let me show you some moves on roulette. Now, before we do that, I want to talk about a procedure. When a number hits on roulette, the dealer is supposed to mark the number palm up. So they would come right here with the fingertips, and then place it onto the number with an open palm. And there's a reason for that. So let's go to this video right now. We're going to call this the dolly move. It's one of my favorite roulette moves that I've seen and not too well known. So right now, whoops. Well, the player just says the dealer marked the wrong number. So that was a mistake. So right now, the house just got robbed for 3 chips, which would be $105 if they're dollar chips. So if you can see what's happening, you can see it's a very hard move to see from an overhead camera. The dealer is actually moving the chips over. The dealer purposely marked the wrong number. And then when he goes to correct it, he's picking up the player's chips with the dolly and brings the chips over with the dolly to put them on the other number, on the winning number. This is why the dealer should move the dolly with a nice open hand with the fingers so that wouldn't be able to happen. And that's another reason dealers are never supposed to correct their own mistakes. But today, with one supervisor watching 8, like this can happen very, very easily. And there's other ways a dealer can help the player win as well. For example, I'll just show you 2 dealer pass posts. So let's bring up this video right here. And this is going to be dealer pass post. So watch this. Very simple. So the dealer just took that bet that was on 30, which was losing, and moved it over to a split, which pays 17-1. So watch the chip that's on number 30. That chip lost and should be removed. But what does the dealer do? Just pushes it over 2 inches. And now that bet is a winning bet and pays 17-1. Here's another one. The dealer took the bet from number 23 and slid it over to number 29. Watch. Dealer marks the number, and when the dealer's removing the losing bets, watch the chip right here. See, the dealer just kicked it over and just slid it right over to a split, which again took a losing bet and made it pay 17-1. This is a close-up of it. And that was normal speed. So you can see how fast something like this could happen on a table, especially when someone's not watching. Please, if you have any questions, any comments, be more than happy, just type them in. Jason, is that peak harder with a 6 or 8 deck shoe? Honestly, it's just as easy. However, it's easier when there's less cards in the shoe. And also, there's less cards in the shoe, the right hand can cover the roller more, which is what surveillance should be looking for. I hope I answered that question. Now, someone also asked me about poker. So let's talk about some poker moves. And I was going to show you 1 or 2 of my favorites. One is a location play. And there's a story behind this as well. But before I get into that, let's talk about the shuffles that are used. And you're going to see why casinos like to use shuffling machines. However, when you get to a head-to-head game or in tournaments, sometimes the shuffle machine could slow the game, and they got to go to a hand shuffle. And this is now you're going to see why casinos fear the hand shuffle. I know we talked about false shuffles in a couple of other episodes, but I never really explained them as I'm going to do right now. What is a false shuffle? A false shuffle is just what the term implies. It makes me look like I'm shuffling the cards, but I'm really keeping the cards that I want intact. And here's how those are done. Well, really, the bottom is the best location for poker. You'll see why in a second. Because when you keep these cards on the bottom, you can see it's much more deceptive, especially from an overhead or a surveillance view. And I'll show you how those are done. The first one's the clump shuffle. The cards I want to control just stay on the bottom. As I shuffle, I just let them fall first. That's it. When I strip, now I want to show you this because you're going to see actual surveillance footage in a second, which is going to make people cringe. To falsify the strip is this way. Even if I did it slow, look how good that looks. The first strip came from the bottom of the deck, and then everything else was real. If I did it poker style and fast, it would look like that. And now I'll just show you in the cut. Well, to beat the cut, how I did it. The bottom cards get shuffled into the deck, but then I just hold a break above it. And I just cut to the break. But what you're going to see right now, in my opinion, is a very, very devastating move to use in a game of poker. The cards are legitimately shuffled. Now, any professional poker player will tell you, if you could just know one card that's going to come out in the flop, you have one heck of an advantage over everyone else. And this is from a shuffle deck. I'm going to try and do everything slow for you. We'll do 11-handed. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's suppose my partner is sitting over here, and my partner has a 10 in their hand. Well, my partner knows there's going to be a 10 coming up on the flop. What's going to be the next card? We'll put a pair of 6s out. So there's my 10, and there's my pair of 6s. And I'll show you how that was accomplished. This is called a location play. These cards are legitimately shuffled. Now when I pick these cards up, right here is where I would be showing the cards to my partner. Right there, my partner knows. Look at that. The flop is going to be a 2-2 Queen Jack. So those cards stay on the bottom. 2-2 Queen Jack. Now, did I get it right? Yeah, I'm sorry, it was a Jack 2 Queen Jack. But the point is, right here when you square them up, that's when your partner gets the flop, right there. Jack 2 Queen Jack. On the first shuffle, they stay on the bottom. On the second shuffle, they stay on the bottom. The strip, it's all real. When I square them up, I hold that break, and now I shuffle them right back to the bottom. So that's fine. It's going to be the cut. How many people in the game? 10? Well, that's 20 cards. The burn card is 21. The flop is going to be 22, 23, and 24. So all I have to do is just cut 2 less than half the deck. And those cards will come out on the flop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Burn. And here's your flop. Burn and flop. So that's a location play. Now, I'll tell you a funny story about that. I'm in one casino where I used to work, no names, of course, and I heard a dealer mention a name that a dealer should not know about certain people, certain moves. So I'm in the EDR. I hear this dealer talking about it, and I said, "Wow, we got to look at this guy tonight." So we get up into the surveillance room, and sure as enough, this guy is setting the flop up for his partners. So let's go to the video on this. And Ted, I'll answer your question in a second. How do you find out more information on this, on poker cheating? Well, there's a really great DVD out called Poker Cheats Exposed by yours truly. And it's a 2-volume set and has more than everything we've discussed so far. So let's go to recent poker. And we're going to see this clip right here. Now, the reason I wanted to show you that the flop move is, believe me, for all the card men out there, you're going to cringe when you see this. But believe me, when these cheats work in the real world, 99% of the time, it's more guts than skill. So there's what, about 6 people in that game. So 6 double to be 12. Flop, 13, 14, 15. So you're looking at about 17 cards from the bottom. Most dealers cut right in the middle when they do a cut. Remember that, because we're going to watch his cut. Now watch when the cards come in, and you're going to see him do the shuffle. You'll see him keep the cards on the bottom, and then you are going to see one of the worst phony strips that you can imagine. No player caught this either. But believe me, players, most of the time, they're not looking out for this. Okay, now watch the strip. Well, watch the strip. He gathers them up. Right there, he flashed the bottom card. Unfortunately, I do have the overhead shot, but it shows too many faces with the casino logo right in the middle of the table. There he does a bad shuffle, keeps him on the bottom. Now watch the cut. About 15 from bottom, and that was it. And he set them up. So the story behind that is, this is interesting. So we got this dealer cold. We called the commission in, and they are ready to go downstairs and bust this deal like you would not believe. But before we do that, we got to call in the general manager. Well, the general manager comes into the casino, and he looks at the tape, and he looks right at me and says, "Sal, you have no idea what you're talking about." So I'm shocked. I said, "Excuse me?" He says, "You have no idea what you're talking about. The dealer legitimately cut the cards. So nothing happened there." So because he put me on the defensive, I turned to him and I said, "You stupid idiot. It's the cut that puts the cards in the right position to facilitate the move." And when I said that to him, oh my God, like steam came out of his ears. And he laid down the law right there and said, "Listen, I see nothing wrong with that." And believe it or not, nothing happened. So you do want to protect yourself. You want to know all about this, whether it be private games. Now, I'm going to tell you, with the virus going on, there's been an explosion in private games because people do want to gamble. So whether you play in private games or, as you see, whether you play in casinos, you want to learn how to protect yourself because it's up to you. I am not going to say that, Scott, are you finding that most poker players don't even know how to shuffle? Oh, that is the God's honest truth of what to look for. You know, I'll tell you about Poker Cheats Exposed. What happened was my daughter had a Sweet 16 party, and all the kids gathered on the poker table to play poker. Well, long story short, not one kid knew how to protect themselves or knew anything about it, but they all wanted to become poker players. So my wife and I put this project together with the next cheat named LD, and we put out a 2-volume set in order for people to protect themselves. Well, I found out the majority of the people that buy these DVDs are the ones that want to learn how to do it. So believe me, most poker players do not know how to shuffle cards. As a matter of fact, if you want to have an advantage in some of your private games, just pay attention. Believe me, you'd be surprised how many times people, when they shuffle, flash cards, or when they hold a deck and they do this. Well, guess what? Now you see two of the bottom cards, and then you just estimate it into the cut. When you shuffle cards, you want to shuffle like a dealer. You want to shuffle them low to the table and nothing gets exposed. When you strip, you do not want to strip this way, giving the person to the right the bottom card. You want to keep those cards low. Do not stand for games when people shuffle like this. There are more ways of cheating at this game with this shuffle than you can imagine. This is the professional way of shuffling. Keep the cards low to the table, and when you strip, keep them low. And when you cut, one-handed clean cut. Now, believe me, there are still ways of cheating with that. Here's a 10-4-2. So this is with a clean one-handed cut. So you can square them up. And if I did a nice cut, you can still see my 10-4-2 on top. And all I did was when I shuffled, I put a bridge into the deck just like this. And then I would either shuffle to the middle or strip them. And that little bridge, you cannot see it. But believe me, when you cut the cards, your fingers will feel it. And you'll be able to bring them right back to the top. So if you do play cards, you do play poker, you want to learn how to protect yourself for sure. Oh, that's true. Now, Bruce, I don't know if anyone knows Bruce. He's been in the business he's a long-time veteran. And he knows he's well respected. And he knows it. He says it right there. We've known too many of these experts. Believe me, in this industry, we promote people on who they know and how they look. But I am not going to get into any of this. That's stories in itself. But to wrap this up for this week, someone did ask me about memory and Rain Man. That's going to be next week is a show you will not want to miss. I am going to have a special guest on, someone who I respect more than anybody else you could possibly imagine. You want to make sure your parents, your grandparents, your children, strangers, when you're at the store, this is a show they must see and you will not want to miss. I promise you that, because you're going to hear a story you will not believe. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed it this week. And I want to thank Cody and Kylie for joining us from Dixon, Wyoming, because I want to throw a special shout out for them. And I want to thank all of you for joining me, because without you, I wouldn't be here. I want everyone to stay safe. For all you fathers out there, have a happy Father's Day. And thank you very much for everybody. Stay safe. And I'll see you next week on Artists on Lockdown. If you like it, share this with your friends. Hit share, hit like. And please go to Artists on Lockdown and support the other artists, because they're home right now and they want to get their name out the same as we all do. So stay safe. I'll see you next week and take care.